powerful. And then he says what? Blessed be Abram, verse 19. Well, blessed be Abram by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who delivered your enemies into your hand. When you hear some statements like this, what is your reaction? What is he trying to say? Blessed be Abram by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth. What is God trying to say? What is Melchizedek telling Abram here? Abram, you need to know you've been blessed by a sovereign God. He owns this whole universe. The second thing he says is, and blessed be God Most High, who delivered your enemies into your hand. Abram, don't think you have won this battle. Your 318 trained men are not the reason why you won the battle. You know why you won the battle? You know why you won the battle? Because the Lord delivered the enemies into your hand. What do you understand from this? There's every chance that if King Melchizedek, let's try to put it this way, let's try to take this story like this. King of Sodom is about to meet him, and nothing happened in between. Melchizedek did not come, and King of Sodom came. What do you think would be the attitude of Abram? The king of Sodom would say, thank you, sir. You know what? We were so defeated, we were all gone. And if you had not been with us, when we would have been destroyed, I'm so thankful to you. What would be Abram's response? It's all right. Okay. He'd be puffed up. Be puffed up. Could be boastful. And say, hey, I protected a king. I protected a king's people. That's the time when Melchizedek comes and tells, don't think you won the battle on your own. It's not because of on your own that you won the battle. The Lord delivered the enemies into your hands. So that kept Abram humble. We also find the Melchizedek brought bread and wine. Why do you think you need bread and wine? You know, many times what we do is we try to super spiritualize things. In a sense, we try to use the future aspects of something to the past. Like bread and wine. Tell me one thing. If you ask a Christian, bread and wine, what is the first thought in mind? Lord's Supper. Now, is this Lord's Supper? No. This is not Lord's Supper because you don't find anything related to Lord's Supper there. The bread and wine is brought for what? Where is Abram coming from? Where is he coming from? A battle. So when a person is coming back from battle, what do you think he needs? Food. He needs food there. And that's why, now did Melchizedek know that this man needs food? Sure he did. Because now let's try to take the spiritual lesson from there. Melchizedek is none other than God himself. He is a representative. King of Salem. The word King of Salem is where you get the word Jerusalem from. Now, he brought bread and wine. So what did Abram do to him? He paid him a tithe. Tithe. Paying a tithe started where? In the Old Testament. In Genesis it started. So he paid a tithe there. So, we also need to remember that King Melchizedek is such an interesting character. You do not know anything about his past, his origin, where his country is. You know nothing about this person. You know, he came, ministered, and disappeared. He came, ministered, and disappeared. And Abram got a perspective because of the coming of Melchizedek. What is the perspective he got? Now look what happened. Verse 21. The king of Sodom said to Abram. Now what happened? King of Sodom came. King of Salem, Melchizedek, what happened? He disappeared. He came, did his ministry, and then he left. And so, the context there is Abram is waiting for Sodom. King of Sodom. So, King of Sodom comes to Abram and says what? Give me the people and keep the goods for yourself. Give me the people and keep the goods for yourself. What did Abram say? Verse 22. But Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have raised my hand to the Lord God Most High, Creator of heaven and earth, and have taken an oath that I will accept nothing belonging to you, not even a thread or the thong of a sandal, so that you will never be able to say, I made Abram rich. My dear brothers and sisters, where and why and how did Abram come to this understanding? It is because of the coming of Melchizedek. Melchizedek's coming changed the attitude of this man. And he said, I don't want anything. I don't want anything. There is a great man of God back home in India. He was given a blank check. He was given a blank check by a millionaire here in the United States. He said, write down whatever figures you want. You know what he said? He took the check and said, I appreciate you for your generosity. He took the check, tore it off, and said, whatever figures I write on this will be much less than what my God can give me. Do you find people like that today? Write whatever figures you want. If you are given that privilege, Abram said, I will not take anything from you. I don't want you to say that I made Abram rich sometime in the future. And that changed this man's attitude. The coming of Melchizedek changed this man totally. And then, I will accept nothing but what my men have eaten, and the share that belongs to the men who went with me to Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. Let them have their share. So this is what Melchizedek did. You know what Jesus can do for you and me? He can give you a right perspective. He can give you a right understanding. Bible says, lean not on your own understanding. Yeah? And depending on God is more important than depending on the people. Right? Depending on the people is not okay. And that's why Psalmist says, people trust in the chariots and horses, but we remember the name of the Lord. It is better to trust God than to put our trust in horses. It is better to trust in God than to put our trust in the princes. This is the lesson we learn from here. Melchizedek came, Abram's life changed. His attitude changed. Though he had achieved so much, he was so humble. He was so humble. That's what you learn in Mark when Jesus talks about that parable. You know what we are supposed to say? You know what we are supposed to say as believers? This is what we are supposed to say. After we have done everything what we are expected to do, you know what? After we have done everything what we are expected to do, this is what we should say. We are only your servants. And we have done our duty. We are your servants. I'm reading from Luke 17 and verse 10. So you also, when you have done everything you were told to do, should say, we are unworthy servants. We have only done our duty. What a great understanding. What a great humility. After achieving everything, you say, Lord, I am unworthy. I've just done my duty. That's the lesson we learn from Abram's life. He was a humble man. Okay? Then we will continue this in the next class.